some people to join the live. Sorry if my camera's a little shaky. I'm almost to my destination. Let's see. Share. Okay, sorry guys, I just have to share this really quick. I hope everybody's having a good day. Doing a YouTube on, or I'm sorry, doing a live on the road today. I'm not driving, but I actually filmed a video on this morning. But to tell you the honest truth, there was so much like I needed to say, and I don't feel like I got it all in there because sometimes when you're making these videos, you're more concerned about the production and this, that, and the other. And I just feel like we just need to talk about this more than anything, because I am fed up, as I'm always fed up with this stuff. But I am just fed up with the narrative that immediately got shot out, no pun intended, about this situation being like an innocent cop shows up on the scene, driving down the road going, geez, I really hope that there's a black person on scene today because I just really feel like shooting somebody and ruining my entire career. And as usual, the media doesn't report all the facts. They tell people that nobody had a weapon, nobody was doing anything wrong. She got shot for no reason when that was not the case. Okay. I'm sure by now you guys have all seen the video of Makiyah Bryant. And I just want to tell you what I know so far, because right now I want to make it very clear. Nobody knows the full story. The only thing that we have seen for certain right now is that video from the officer's body worn camera, which they released pretty quickly. I was impressed about that. They released it pretty quickly. And we were able to see what transpired. So, immediately, obviously, we could see that there was no weapon. I'm sorry, immediately we could see that there was a weapon, okay, used, and that was a knife. And the person that was holding that weapon was Makiyah herself. The reports are that the police were called to this home because of a report of an altercation between some people. But again, nobody's heard this 911 call, so we don't know exactly what was reported, if this was Makiyah's place of residence or if she was at somebody else's house. What I am hearing rumors of is that she was living with a foster family, and the foster family is who owned the home that they were in front of. But I also heard that the girls that were living in the foster home were the ones that she was having the altercation with, because apparently there was some bullying going on. Now, I don't know who was bullying who. The point is, that doesn't matter, okay? The point is who called the cops, why they were there, doesn't matter. And I want to explain to you why that doesn't matter. Okay. When a police officer gets called onto an altercation or a scene, they don't always know the full details. Now, it's very easy for you and I to go back after seeing the camera, after, getting some additional details, to make a judgment on what we think should have happened. But understand that when an officer goes on a call, they are given very basic information. And how I know that is because I myself have called the police and have reported a serious issue. I one time had a guy jump through my window naked, okay, and was laying in my kitchen bleeding. And issue. Now, I didn't know he had a mental issue till after the fact, but all I knew is that I was woken up out of my sleep from a guy jumping through my window. Now, when I called the police, the questions were this: who are you? Are you the owner of the residence? What's going on? What race is the person? That's very important. What does that person look like? Okay. So that the police officer kind of knows who are they dealing with when they get on scene. Okay. and any other additional details. Okay. In this situation, what I saw in the video was the officer arriving. I immediately saw him put his hand out and go, "Can somebody tell me what's going on?" Before he could even get the sentence out of his mouth, these girls started acting wild. I saw Makiyah being the main perpetrator. Okay. I saw her push one girl. Shortly after she pushed that girl to the ground, an older gentleman came up and kicked her in the head. Then I saw Makiyah push the officer out of the way as he was trying to tell her to calm down. Okay. Pushed him out of the way, turned around and went after the girl that you see in the pink jumpsuit. Mind you, I want to point this out. The girl in the pink jumpsuit was the only one to calmly walk towards the officer when he pulled up on site. So to me, it seems as though, just looking at it, that she was the person that maybe called the police. Now, people are going to say, no, 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 because Makiyah's aunt and her birth mother, I think that's who it is, got on the news and said that Makiyah was the one that called the police. Okay, let me just say this. They're also the same people that said Makiyah had no weapon. Okay, so I don't know what's going on there. I mean, and can we really trust what these people are saying? Because they didn't live with Makiyah. Makiyah lived with foster parents. The aunt didn't live there and the mother didn't live there. So how do they know what happened? Okay, how do they really know what happened? How do they know what took the phone call and why the police were there? The second point I want to make is that when the police officer arrived, Makiyah was the one with the weapon. Makiyah was the one attacking people. So without knowing much and having to make a quick decision, what did people expect this officer to do? Because I guarantee you, okay, that somewhere in the world today, and we're probably not going to hear from her, there is a Black mother thanking God that that police officer took the action that he took and saved her daughter's life. So the next question is this: what Black life mattered more? Because if the officer would have just said, "Hey, this is not a situation I want to get involved in right now. I mean, if no matter what decision I make, I'm going to be the bad guy. So I'm just going to step back and let these girls fight it out. And let's just say they both killed each other. They all killed each other, or they killed somebody else." The white officer would have been blamed for that. If the officer would have taken down the girl in the pink jumpsuit, or maybe would have accidentally shot the girl in the pink jumpsuit as she was getting attacked by Kaya, then that girl's mother would have been upset at the police officer, claiming that she was shot for no reason. And everybody would have discounted the fact and said, "Oh, well, Makiyah was the one coming at her with a knife. They should have shot her, not the girl without." So the point is it's so convenient how the media likes to spin these stories, okay? And understand the George Floyd thing, the Derek Chauvin thing, it came to a close, and very conveniently shortly after this situation pops up. Understand that the media does not care about Black lives, does not care about justice. They care about ratings. And this is the next rating for them, is this story. The story about the little girl, Jocelyn, I don't know what her name is, Jocelyn Adams, that got shot, the 7-year-old girl whose little body got riddled with bullets as she was sitting in the drive-through with her father at a McDonald's in a gang drive-by shooting. That wasn't big enough ratings for them. You want to know why? Because it wasn't a white man shooting at a Black man. Okay? It was gang violence. So that didn't give them the narrative or the ratings that they want. So now we're all focused and paying attention to justice for Makiyah when nobody's screaming justice for this little baby. And not just this little baby, the other little babies that die all the time that nobody talks about. How about the Black woman, okay, that's getting beat by her husband or shot? What about her? Nobody's talking about that woman because that doesn't fit the narrative. You understand that the only stories that they talk about are the ones that fit the narrative. And I had so many people come into my messaging last night on some posts that I made about this situation and say, "Oh God, well, the same old story." Well, it's easy for you to say because how many white people does this happen to? First of all, Nobody really knows because the media is not going to talk about it. But I'll tell you what, go onto YouTube, go onto any site that releases police body cam videos, and just look up police shootings, and you will see ones of all colors. Okay. Unfortunately, the only ones that the media wants you to pay attention to are the ones that involve Black people and white police officers. That's it. That's it. And that's the reality of it. So you guys are being used for ratings. And I've said this before in previous videos. It's the sad reality. And it's what's even more sadder is that people fall for it. People aren't seeing through this lie. And until the Black community really wants to talk about what the problem is, which is the foundation is rotten. Okay. I heard a lady on the news say, well, this win that we have with the Chauvin trial is just one brick in the house that we're trying to build of justice. Well, guess what, sweetie? You can have a lot of bricks in that house, but if the foundation is rotten, it'll eventually all come tumbling down again. And that is the problem, is we don't want to talk about the foundation. The foundation is rotten. The morals, for the most part, I'm not saying in every Black home, but for the most part, the morals are bad. There's not two-parent homes. We are idolizing gang violence. We are idolizing this gang culture. Girls don't respect their bodies. We are allowing our children to be out at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning doing God knows what with God knows who. And we're just supposed to look the other way when they get shot by a police officer for acting like criminals. And that's the sad reality of it. That's the sad reality of it. And it's, it is what it is. It is what it is. And then you see Makiyah's aunt. So Makiyah's aunt yesterday got on the news and she stood in front of the media on the street that the incident took place on. And, yesterday was 420, and I'm sure she was partaking heavily in 420 activities because this woman could not get the story straight on whether Makiyah had a knife in her hand or didn't have a knife in her hand. If you go back and listen to the video, and I think I posted it in my story on Instagram. Yeah, I did post it. She starts out by saying there was no knife. Then she says there was a knife, but it was on the ground. Then she said, well, she might have had a knife, but that didn't matter. She couldn't get the story straight. She couldn't get the story straight. Okay. So I look at these stories and I'm not laughing because it's not funny when anybody loses their life, even if they deserve it. It's not something to laugh at. But you understand that we cannot take the true issues of inequality and the true examples of racism seriously. We can't focus on those things right now because we're so blinded by these instances where racism is not a factor, where racial inequality is not a factor. It is poor parenting. It is people making poor choices, bad morals. That is what is going on. But people don't want to talk about that. People don't want to acknowledge that. They just want to focus on skin color. They just want to focus on the victimhood of it all. And I'm sick of it. I am sick of it. People want to talk about defunding the police. I have an idea. The police would not have to be as funded as they are if the people that were committing the majority of the crimes, and that is on the side of white and Black people, okay, stop doing this shit. Stop doing this shit, and the police won't have to be out in your neighborhood shooting people. But you see, they have taken an oath to protect and serve, okay? The community, not just you, not just me, but the community. So whatever decision they have to make in the, 0.833 seconds that they have to make it in has to be the best decision that they can make at the time with what they are given. Is that always going to be the best decision? No, it's not. Is it always going to be the right decision? No, it's not. But until you have stepped into the shoes of a police officer, you do not have the right to judge. What you need to do is you need to focus on your home. You need to focus on you. You need to focus on your child to make sure that's all right. Okay. Because we can't focus on the overall issue until we are doing our part. Yeah. They're saying George Floyd, Nancy Pelosi went on and I'm going to look at comments in just a second here, but Nancy Pelosi went on the news last night and she said she wanted to thank George Floyd for sacrificing his life in the name of justice. Does anybody else but me see the idiocracy in that statement? What an evil woman, okay, to make a statement like that. Do you think that George Floyd's mother, do you think that George Floyd's family, do you think that his daughter's going to grow up thinking in their head, geez, thank God he sacrificed himself in the name of justice? Do you think he chose to sacrifice himself? No, I don't think he chose to sacrifice himself. I mean, that was what happened, is he lost his life as a result. But how insensitive, to say that. To say that, it's almost as if she was saying, well, who's next? Who wants to be the next sacrifice for our political game? You know what I mean? The fact that the Black community isn't in uproar over her saying that is ridiculous. But because y'all applaud her when she puts on a dashiki and she kneels down on one knee is why she thinks she can do that. The fact that you elected a racist to be the president of the United States is the fact why that's why she thinks she can say that. That's the facts. They are playing y'all for fools. They're counting on your stupidity. David Dorn was another situation. This was a Black police officer off duty guarding somebody's store during the riots that were caused by the issue by the incident with George Floyd. And somebody came and shot him and then live streamed him dying on the sidewalk on Facebook. But he's not a hero, according to Nancy Pelosi. You'll never hear her say, thank you, David Dorn, for sacrificing your life in the name of justice. You know why? Because no justice has come of that, and no justice is going to come of Derek Chauvin being convicted on all 3 counts. No justice, because you know why? It doesn't fix the problem, because y'all don't want to talk about the problem. You guys want to blame everybody else and point the finger. You don't want to talk about the fact that the problem resides in the home, not in the street. Not with the police officer. Are there bad police officers? Yes. And I will say this, I fully expected Derek Chauvin to catch some charges for sure. I think that he deserved to get charges. But did he deserve all 3 charges? No. Did he get a fair trial? No. Because the jury was not sequestered in the beginning. They were completely exposed to everything that was going on. And I know that the judge had given them strict instructions to not watch the news and not do this. But the lawyer, Eric Nelson, made a great point. He said, I don't know how it's possible unless you're sequestered to completely remove yourself from what's going on in the outside world. It's impossible. Not to mention, these people were getting their houses splattered with blood, pig heads delivered to their doorstep. Ridiculous. These people made a judgment based on fear. You even heard Gutfield on Fox News say that he's glad that Derek Chauvin had the book thrown at him because he wanted this, the rioting to stop because his neighborhood was rioted and looted or whatever, and he wanted it to stop. But what an ignorant statement, because it's not stopping. It's only getting worse because these people are not satisfied. They even said it themselves. It isn't going to stop. It's just going to keep going and going and going. Let me look at some comments here. Sorry, guys. Let's see. No-win situation for this officer. He shot a Black female, which they will say is racist, but if he had not shot her and let her stab the Black female in the pink, they would have called that racist. I agree. Ratings, but I see you stay on those same topics as well. I do stay on those same topics, and I don't just stay on those topics. I cover a lot of topics. But I'm very choosy about what I talk about because I only really talk about it if I feel like I have something to add. This video in particular was about Makiyah Bryant, but notice I haven't made a video about the Chauvin trial pretty much the entire time that it's been going on, and the only time I've spoken about it is up until now. I only speak on things that I feel like I have knowledge on and I have something valuable to say. So, it is what it is. I have a right to speak on it if that's what's going on. But trust me, my channel's not benefiting like the media is benefiting from these stories. Look at these. I keep telling my Black brothers and sisters to watch and raise their children right, but they don't want to listen to reason. Oh, it's true. But I will say this. I know a lot of Black people who are excellent parents, or even, mixed race homes that are excellent parents. This little guy right here, okay, I'm going to tell you a story about him. He's adopted by a white family because his um, mother was not fit to raise him. So, you know, good things, people out there are good people, and there are plenty of good homes out there, and plenty of good people. But unfortunately, the media chooses to focus on the bad again because of ratings. Sorry, guys. Let me go back to the comments. Yeah, and thank you for saying that. While I do stay on these topics, I am at least giving you the facts. The media has benefit in lying to you, again, for ratings. I'm not lying to you. There is no video I have made that has been lies. It has all been based off of fact, and the rest off of my opinion. And I've stated that very clearly. But the media is not clear about that when they're giving you information. They're telling you this is as fact. That trial was a sham. The judge didn't even allow the evidence in, and it should have been sequestered and moved to another place. I agree. So many people are reposting this situation, but not realizing what they are really posting. The girl was going to kill another woman. They were grown adults watching, letting this happen. Oh, yeah. So that's another thing. So the dude, the older guy that was standing by, the one that kicked the other girl in the head, he yelled at the cop after he shot. He said, "She's just a 15-year-old girl, dude." And I thought to myself, why were none of you helping the situation? Okay. Why did none of you break up the situation? You see yourself on camera? um, they didn't. They didn't do anything to help the situation. In fact, the guy was exasperating the situation by kicking the other girl in the head. Okay. If she was just a 15-year-old girl, why did he get behind her and grab her and pull her off the other girl? Why? It's a good question to ask. I know that this is a wild statement to make, okay? But at this point, I wouldn't put it past people, especially after seeing the video of that guy that was walking through the neighborhood, that the army lieutenant or whoever he was, told him, "Hey, I haven't seen you on the street before. You need to get off the street." And everybody was in an uproar about it, that shouldn't be happening. I wouldn't put it past people at this point that they're not purposely trying to trigger situations to become the next payout for BLM, or, the next news story, even at the cost of their life. And I know that that sounds crazy, but there are people out here that don't care about their life. They don't care, and they will do anything. I mean, clearly, you see people running in gangs, right? Knowing that every day their life is at risk. They do drive-bys, they rob stores, knowing that their life is at risk. They don't care. But man, if you don't care about your life and you're willing to risk it, and your family might get $1 million payout, why not go for it? You know? Hey, you might get lucky and end up like Jacob Blake and just lose your ability to walk, right? I feel like these officers, sorry, I feel like these officers should stop protecting us because people need to know what it's like not to have police. I agree. I said that yesterday. I posted it yesterday, and I said, you know, police officers should just stop taking calls at this point that are involving violent situations, because I think people need to really appreciate what it is that we have when it comes to the protection of the police, and let them kill each other. To tell you the honest truth, if I were that police officer that showed up at that scene yesterday, I would have just sat in my car and just said, you know what, the liability is too high for me. I'm not going to get involved in this. Y'all work it out. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? I mean, hell, I'm not worried. I mean, I'm packing 4 weapons at my house. I'm not worried. I mean, if the police don't come, I'll just take care of it myself. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. Or, you know, go with your plan of just sending like social workers to these types of things. How do you think a social worker would have handled yesterday? True, the 2 girls probably would be alive, but I bet you the social worker would be dead. She probably would have gotten stabbed, right? Trying to break it up, you know? Or what if you just said, okay, we're going to do this new thing where we're just going to send the officer that corresponds to the color of the neighborhood? How about that? You know why that doesn't work? Because you talk to most uh, African American officers and they don't want to work in the neighborhood that they correspond to because they know better. And I've also heard that they get treated worse by their own people than white cops do. That's pretty sad. That's pretty sad. But you understand that this is what the government wants. They don't care either way. They don't care if the police get villainized and they don't care if the police want to quit, because if there is no police, then they can replace them with the people that they would love to police you and I. And that's not going to be a good situation. Okay, that's going to turn into Nazi Germany 2.0. So, you know, pick your poison, people. Either get your together or or you know, choose to just give up and let the government run your life. Let the government slowly kill you and see how that works out for you. I'm going to be okay because like I said, I have protection. I'm smart. I live a great life. I'm very blessed and I'm very appreciative of those blessings. My children aren't criminals. They don't hang around with criminals. They don't break the law. So the chances of them, you know, getting tied up in a situation where they get shot by police, which by the way, I often get comments saying people wish that that would happen so that I would learn my lesson. It's just not, the chances are it's not going to happen to me because I don't run in those circles. But if you choose to run in those circles, that's what you're going to get.
Can I say something?
Yeah, say something really quick because we're about to lose.
It's funny, those people that are like, I pray to God that the police learn their lesson, yet you're over here praying that, you know, that we get in trouble with the law.
Yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
No,
They're praying to God that white people and cops get killed so that they learn their lesson. Ridiculous. Anyways, you guys, I'm about to lose service. I'm going through a bad neighborhood, so I'm going to let you go. Thank you so much for joining this live chat. Please, if you have any other comments, put them down below. I'll make sure to answer them. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to share this video. Don't forget to go to my website at letstalkdarling.com, and I'll be back with another video. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.